Welcome to a deadline stream for Game Week 32, and the triple captaincy is locked in, and my team is firmly set. It has been done for just quite a while, and yeah, looking to get more green arrows. I've got quite a few in a row now, and trying to break into the top 50k, as I said before. I'll get through all your questions, and there's certainly going to be a lot of discussion about the triple captaincy and the bench boost for any of you who haven't used it yet. And I think the answers are quite clear, but sometimes, we do overthink these sort of things because we want to find a way to gain advantage over our competitors. But thank you everyone who has joined in, and I'll get through everything. And yeah, thank you everyone who's been patient. Bon sorry, Dylan, says Lipok. Thank you for joining in, and hopefully you enjoy the stream and have a good game week. Shadow Gaming says, thoughts on this -8? Alba, Diaz and Davis out for Son, Holding and Lacazette. Okay, so those three players you're bringing in the double game week play. I like that. Holding has good fixtures and he's 4.2 million, and Lacazette seems to be in great form other than his miss in the first leg against Slavia Prague. That -8 does make sense, but just getting rid of Diaz, not sure about that, but obviously Aubameyang should be out for maybe another game week or two, and Davis, yeah, he's literally just bench fodder, isn't he? So I get the logic behind those moves, and I think they're all in a way upgrades other than Diaz to Holding. So I would say go ahead with those -8, but if possible, maybe just limit it to a -4. But I do get that Diaz to Holding enables you to make the other two moves. KTS, not bad. Just no Son blanks next game week. To be honest, I don't mind anyway. My triple captaincy is on Kane, but to be honest, Heung-min Son, his performance against Southampton early in the season was exceptional. Against Everton, Spurs were very flat in the first game of the season, but a lot has happened since then. Everton obviously looked very promising in the first 6-7 games. Then Spurs did, up until December, and then they just fell apart. So yeah, things do change. Marcus says, Creswell plus Gundogan to Cody plus Jota for a -4. I'd probably go ahead with it, although it may harm you this week with Gundogan. I think overall it just makes sense. There's going to be too much rotation with City, especially when the title is wrapped up. And then, yeah, getting Cody, I think, is pretty good asset for the next 3 or 4 game weeks. And Diego Jota, to be honest, I'm actually having kind of second thoughts about him. Obviously, we'll wait and see how he does. I've only had him for 1 game week. I had him in UCL Fantasy too, but there are a few question marks around him. And definitely, if you had to pick one between him and Salah, it would be him. But if you don't have Lingard already, even Maddison, I'd be tempted to maybe look at those options and Rafinha come game week 34, and if he's fully fit. Is now the best time to use my triple captaincy on Kane, says Genius Gamer? Yeah, so pretty much, in my opinion, it is. That's why I've got it activated. And if you don't want to do it, then I get it. Fair enough. There is game week 35, which could be a big double game week, or at least, it's going to have several. But yeah, for those of you who have a bench boost and a triple captaincy, I think it's very simple. You triple captain now. Triple captain Kane or Son, I would go with Kane, and in 35 you bench boost. That's the way I see it, or at least when there's going to be several double game week fixtures. But yeah, I think the best time now is now, definitely, no doubt about it. And by the way, just because everyone always asks and I sometimes forget, my bench is currently this: Forster, Rudiger, Phillips and Vidra. I might swap Vidra and Phillips, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. What I could do is maybe play Rudiger instead of Diaz or Cody, but I think I'm just going to stick with this. I've already got Mendy for Chelsea cover. I do think Manchester City will keep a clean sheet against the Villa without Grealish. And the rest kind of, speaks for itself. I'm not going to bench Shaw. I'm not going to bench any of my midfielders or my strikers. So yeah. Play Watkins or Bamford, says Lipuk. I have Phillips and Stones playing 2 with Rudiger and Shaw. Salah, Jota, Bruno, Son and Kane on the bench. Johnston, or OPs, Johnston, subs, Martinez and Dallas. Okay, so Watkins, yeah, no. I'd probably play, I'd play Bamford. Just plays a weaker defence. I still back City to get some clean sheets until the rest of the season. And no Grealish, most likely. Yeah, I don't really fancy Watkins' chances. I think Bamford is slightly more likely to score. Mickey says, hi Dylan, happy Friday. Let me tell you about the silly error I did last week. Instead of using my wildcard, I made -16 transfers. I thought I used my wildcard and only realised Monday night. Well, that's the thing though, even if you do take hits like that, if you just activate the wildcard afterwards, it cancels it out, so it's fine. But yeah, if you take a -16 and then you forget to actually play the wildcard, during that, or after, then yeah, it's a problem. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of people have had that sort of thing before, or I don't know, maybe their brother or someone that they know just goes on their phone or their laptop and then they make changes. I've heard a lot of these sorts of stories before. It is a bit of a shame, but yeah, minus 16 isn't too bad. It could have been worse. Let's look at the bright side. Aranya says, is Saka a good option for this week? I only have 7.2 million left, and I need either a forward to replace DCL or a midfielder to replace Rafinha. Okay, I know DCL has a double game week coming up soon, but I really don't rate him at the moment, or Everton. And if you look at, based on last season as well, DCL started very well, and then he kind of tailed off towards the end. And it's very similar to this campaign. And to be honest with Everton, I just don't really want to have any of their assets. So I personally would say, yeah, get rid of DCL. Look at the likes of Iheanacho if you don't have him already. Obviously, apart from that, yeah, the pool of strikers isn't very, it's very limited. As for Rafinha, I would... Yeah, maybe now, especially if he's injured, it's kind of, you don't want to have him for the next 2 weeks. But after that, you definitely want him, for the remaining 4 games of this season. But Saka a good option? I think he is a good option around his price, but I think there are better overall. Not around his price, but I'm talking about if you can just stretch to 6 to 7 million, you can get Lingard, Maddison. Obviously, I would have said Neto, but he is out. I'm not too sure about Saka. He's going to be rotated as well at times. Europa League is going to be the priority with Arsenal, and if they reach the final, hopefully they win it, then yeah, it's just going to be very difficult to predict with Arsenal. But I would expect Saka to start the majority of the Premier League games. I think Arteta's now going to try to stick to a stable 11, which you can use in the league, build some confidence and some good chemistry there, and that translates to the Europa League, and it kind of happened over the weekend and yesterday. Cancelo to Trent or DCL to Vardy. I have Iheanacho. I don't have enough money to take a hit and bring in both. Look, I did say, I think it was last week actually, that I might not be giving Vardy enough credit. He still has the potential with the fixtures and with how Leicester are able to perform. He has the potential to score a lot of goals over the next few weeks, but he's only got 1 goal in his last 13 games. That's just poor. He's taken a more creative role recently. Iheanacho is the centre, basically the target man right now. He's the one who all the chances fall to, so I'm not exactly sure. I think Maddison's reintroduction to the team will help Vardy, but I probably would prefer Cancelo to Trent, to be honest. It may not pay off this week. Maybe Vardy will be the better one in the short term, but long term I would back Trent. And Cancelo might be out of favour now from Manchester City with his mistakes against Leeds. Brought in Cavani for a -8. Fair enough, GZ. Yeah, I think Cavani's actually, to be fair, him, Lacazette, Iheanacho, those are the sort of best strikers you can go for right now based on fixtures and form, other than Harry Kane. So yeah, fair enough. That's a good option. It could be a very good differential. Marcus says, thoughts on my team: Mendy, Cody, Wan-Bissaka, Diaz, Jota, Salah, Lingard, Rafinha, Son, Kane, Iheanacho, Martinez, Bamford, Aspi, Dallas on the bench. Any changes you would make? That looks pretty solid, to be honest. Yeah, I wouldn't really change much, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't sub the midfield. Yeah, that's completely fine, I think. Hi, Dylan. Greenwood or Cody to start? That's a tough one. I think Greenwood's ceiling is higher, but the floor for Cody is, is higher as well. So I think if you just want the security of points, I'd go for Cody, but I think Greenwood's a nice differential who could really get you up the ranks even this week. Are there any teams who have a double game week? Yeah, just Spurs really. That's pretty much how it is going. And look, let's actually have a look at the fixtures. So today we start off with Everton Spurs. So whoever's triple captaining or captaining Kane and Son, yeah, you'll see how they start off the game week. And then, yeah, the games on Saturday look very, very poor. Sunday, a bit better, but still not very good. Monday's a pretty interesting game on paper. But yeah, as you can see here, only Spurs have the double game week. But yeah, this game week, literally we have a game every single day until Thursday, and then I'm pretty sure we have a deadline on Friday, and then we have games up until Monday, and then the day after that we have Champions League. So we're literally just full of football in the Premier League and Champions League. So that's how it's looking at the moment. Hi Dylan, welcome home sweet home, thank you for joining in. Creswell to Semedo. I'll be honest, I don't really rate Semedo. If you want someone from Wolves, I think Cody or Saiss. Saiss is the one I really like because of his attacking potential. He's a beast in the air. Semedo, he's just a bit more expensive and he hasn't really offered the bonus points or the assists that we were hoping for when he came to the Premier League. But still a decent option, is a differential, but I prefer Cody and Saiss. That's my opinion on it. Who to bench, Holding, Rudiger, Shaw or Trent? Good question, Jared. From those lot, okay, if you have... Jesus, my bad. If you have Mendy on goal, then I would bench Rudiger. Otherwise, I would actually consider benching Trent. He's the least likely to keep a clean sheet there, but then again, if Leeds are kind of more defensive, as they have been recently, you could even see a 0-0 or a 1 or 2-0 Liverpool, which obviously sounds strange to say it, but yeah, I'd probably say bench Rudiger or Trent, and it's based on really who you have in goal. Start Ings or Saka, says Addy. To be honest, with how... I don't really rate Southampton, I'll be honest, and they face Spurs. I would start Saka, in my opinion. I just really don't rate Ings. I actually nearly had him on my wildcard for a 1-week punt against West Brom. I'm glad I didn't do it. But then again, I got Sterling and captained him, so not much better there. Start Rudiger, Holding or Soufal? Good question. If you have Mendy, then bench Rudiger and start the other two. But if you only had to start one of those three, that's very tough. I think the most likely to keep a clean sheet is Rudiger, but if you have Mendy already, it's fine. I'd probably just start Holding. How prospective is triple captaining Son for those who may not be having Kane? Look, it's decent cover in a way, but you want to have Kane in this game week. I wouldn't say suicide or it's really bad, but you know it could be daunting. If he has one of those hauls in him, like a 19-point haul against Palace in just one game, then yeah, anyone who doesn't have him is in deep trouble. Yeah, captaining Son is a good option, but as well as having Kane, I think this game week you have to have him, in my opinion. Tiger and Guna says, thoughts on bringing in 8 Nuri and Semedo in defence and taking out Creswell and Cancelo out for a -4? Yeah, as I said before with Wolves, Saiss and Cody are my top 2 choices, not just from their defence, but also from their entire team. That's my opinion on it, but I get the logic behind that. Semedo and Ait Nuri are the more offensive-minded players, but I'd probably replace one of them with Saiss. That's my opinion on it. Aranya says, how is Moura as an option for the double game week? I've been asked this before, and I'll be honest, with Spurs, Kane, Son, no-brainer. I don't need, everyone knows that. But then maybe a Lloris or a Reguilon. I don't really rate Lucas Moura as well, because what you also want to have from these assets is someone you could potentially use in game week 34 onwards. And Lloris and Reguilon could maybe provide that, although Spurs' defence is awful right now. But yeah, Lucas Moura, I just don't see it. And maybe for a 1-week punt, it's good. But the reason why I'm saying no is because for his price, there are so many options. And I keep banging on about it. But Maddison, Lingard, all these sorts of players, I just think they offer much better value than him. So not for me. Home Sweet Home says, Martinez, Lowton, Dallas, Dunk, Son, Bruno, Jota, Lingard, Iheanacho, Lacazette, Kane, triple captain, already -4. Would you suggest to go -4 for a defender? If yes, who would it be? Yeah, I wouldn't take another -4 for a defender. That's just me. Normally, I would just not advocate that. If you're getting in someone who has a double game week, like a Reguilon, maybe, but not for me. Bench order, Keane, Rafinha, and Bamford. So yeah, you're talking about Keane from Everton, aren't you? Okay, so yeah, I'd probably put Rafinha first, Bamford second, and Keane third. Probably that's where I'd go. Son is my captain, in my opinion. Fair enough. And if you look at early in the season, an amazing performance against Southampton, 4 goals, and also he's actually outperformed Kane in more games than Kane has outperformed him when they have both started. So that's something to think about. And that's not even considering the extra point for the clean sheet or stuff like that, or the extra point for scoring a goal as a midfielder. It's literally just, same amount of points for every single thing. Son has outscored Kane in the games that they've started together more times than Kane has done it. But yeah, I think Kane is just more consistent, in my opinion, regardless of what I've just said. Play Mendy or Leno? I'd still play Mendy, in my opinion. If you have a Chelsea defender, then maybe you can just go for Leno, but I'd go with Mendy. Atif. Should I start Bamford over Gundogan as he may not start? I just start Gundogan because I think the only reason he came on the other day against Leeds is because they were trailing the game. I don't really see that situation coming to the fore against Aston Villa, so I would start Gundogan. Thoughts about Mourinho? Might rest Kane before the final. If they lost the game against Everton, they will prioritise the final, I think. I think the final's the priority anyway. They can still make top 4 though, and Mourinho actually was kind of bullish about it. He was really adamant that they can still make top 4 and that it's not done yet. So I still think they're going to take the league seriously and they're going to get minutes under the belt in the Southampton game, which is only 4 days before the final. So yeah, what I see happening there is Kane getting 60 minutes, but maybe being subbed off early to avoid injury and also to just have him fully sharp and rested. Same with Heung-min Son, but I do expect both of them to start both games. There is obviously a chance, as you point out, of them maybe missing out in a game or something like that. And I've already mentioned that in my team selection video. It's one of the kind of mini doubts you can have. But I just still think if you have the triple captaincy right now, apart from Game Week 35, you're not going to have another really good opportunity to play it across the whole season. Having Mendy, start free in defence, Reece James, Pereira, Azpilicueta and Trent. Funny enough, I'd probably bench Pereira from West Brom and I'd start the other three. The reason why I say that is because West Brom have actually been pretty impressive recently for a number of weeks now. And that Chelsea game just kind of cemented them. I think that was kind of the turning point. They can actually stay in the division now. And also, they're no longer the whipping boys of the division. So yeah, I would probably bench Pereira. So many people getting rid of Creswell. I still have him and contemplating starting him over Soufal. If he's out, Soufal will come on anyway. What would you do? Yeah, you know what? Because of what's happening now, Soufal is getting more of the assists recently, and that's because of the formation they're playing with Masuaku coming back. And Soufal's the one who's more bombing forward. Creswell can sometimes play as a left centre-back. So I would probably just start Soufal anyway. In away games, that's when Soufal tends to get most of his assists. Creswell gets most of them at home. I mean, it's up to you, but I would probably just play Soufal anyway. And I'm not even sure. He does have a hamstring injury, doesn't he, Creswell? But no updates as of yet from what I've seen. Hi Dylan mate, great week for Arsenal. Yeah, a very good week. Hope your triple captaincy goes well. Won't be here for long, sorry, but my team is very self-explanatory and my captain too. Good luck this week. Thank you, Marco, and yeah, very good from Arsenal. At least something to smile about this season, and hopefully they can go all the way in the Europa League. Azpilicueta or Watkins, first bench. Definitely Azpilicueta, Fest. Definitely Azpilicueta for me. Start Areola or Martinez? I would start Areola because with City, they have the potential to score 2 or more goals against Aston Villa. With Arsenal, to be fair, with the form they can show, yeah, but you know, Arsenal and City are different kettles of fish, aren't they? So I would start Areola. If you could choose one player, whether you have them or not, who would be your pick to score the most points this game week? My bets are on Cavani. Well, I think Kane, and that's why I'm triple captaining him. But other than him, I think Lacazette or Cavani. Like, those are the two that kind of stand out in my mind. And if not, it might be the usual suspects. You know, the likes of Salah, Bruno, you know, with all the people thinking of getting rid of him, and Lingard. So those are the sort of players I'd be looking at. But if I had to pick one, it's definitely Harry Kane. And if I had to maybe pick a different pick, I'd probably go with someone like Lingard. Why is no one talking about Johnston? He has been consistently getting points for a while now, rotating him with Martinez over the last few game weeks. Yeah, that's a good point, to be honest. And on a wild card, maybe I should have brought in one West Brom player or something like that. But yeah, you make a good point there. Johnston's quietly going on about his business. There's the likes of Maitland-Niles now. West Brom have some very good assets. And I think in the last game, everyone had a shot or something like that on target against Southampton, which is crazy, isn't it? But yeah, West Brom are doing well. I wouldn't double or triple up on West Brom, but I think having one asset there is pretty good. It's a good idea there. Bruno or Salah for Son for this double game week only. Thanks for the videos. Thank you, KT, and sorry for the botch there. Bruno or Salah for Son. Oddly enough, I actually think Bruno's going to outscore Salah this game week just because of the fixture. I might be completely wrong about that. It could go either way. But going forward, because of the fixtures, because of Salah chasing the golden boot, and because of Bruno not really shining as he once was, at least in terms of goals and assists, I would probably just rather keep Salah and get rid of Bruno. But I'll be honest, I don't want to get rid of either of them. I don't want to have both of them and Son, which is what I do right now. But yeah, it's a difficult situation, isn't it? I'll probably just get rid of Bruno, but with a very heavy heart. Play Gundogan or Bamford? Gundogan, as I said before, Mohammed. Have to play one, Rafinha or Bamford? I would play Rafinha, but he is a doubt for the game. There wasn't really much information from Marcelo Bielsa. So, yeah, I'd probably start Rafinha anyway, but he might not even play a single minute. Start Creswell over Soufal. Creswell might play. Yeah, as I already discussed before, Strike, when I answered your question, I would start Soufal anyway, for the reasons I gave before. Hi Dylan, I have a hard time deciding who to start in defence. I need to start free between Semedo, Cody, Azpilicueta, Shaw and Diaz. I'd start Shaw, Azpilicueta and Cody, but if you have Mendy in goal, bench Azpilicueta and start Diaz. That's my opinion on it. I have Chambers, Alonso, Saiss, Dallas and Diaz, and I'm afraid at least 3 of them won't play. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But I'd probably bench Chambers from those lot. I think he has the lowest ceiling. But then again, he's been getting assists. He's been actually getting forward a lot for Arsenal at right back. So it's not an easy decision there. You'd probably want to start all of them, bar Dallas, I'd say. I'd still probably not expect him to do that well, despite his masterclass last week. Would you get rid of Lloris over Mendy? Well, not this game week. I think this is a bad time to get rid of Lloris. If you had him for this long, this is where you want him for. But going forward, I would want to have Mendy. Spurs' defence is just poor, but because they have the double game week, just keep him for now. One transfer available. Martinez, Forster, Cancelo, Wan-Bissaka, Cody, Rudiger, Lowton, Bruno, Salah, Son, Gundogan, Neto, DCL, Kane, Brewster. Should I take a -4 Neto to Lings, DCL to Nacho, or wildcard this week or next? Well, if you have your bench boost available, then just kind of probably save your wildcard up until game week 33 or 34, and then you can set yourself very nicely for 35. As for your transfers, I'd probably say Neto to Lingard because Neto's out for the whole season, and Lingard's just a great player at the moment, in form. But going forward, I'd also do DCL to Nacho, and yeah, I'd be aiming to wildcard very soon, probably by game week 34, if anything, especially if you have your bench boost available. Do you think Cancelo, Gundogan and Rudiger will start? Thanks. It's a tough one to call. I'm not sure about Cancelo, but I do think Gundogan and Rudiger will start, yeah. But there is always a question mark around all three. Start Azpilicueta or Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you have Mendy, then just start Arnold, but otherwise I'd start Azpilicueta. I think he's more likely to keep a clean sheet. Play Martinez versus City or Forster versus Tottenham? That's a good question. Have 7 million in the bank. Should I take a -4 and get in Lloris or Leno? You know what? Just because of how bad Southampton are right now defensively, I would probably just start Martinez because he can rack up some save points and maybe a bonus somehow. So yeah, I'd go with Martinez. I took a -4 Watkins to Iheanacho. I am not sure how good a decision that was. And more importantly, who starts between Saka and Bamford. I'd start Saka this week over Bamford. Bamford actually doesn't have a really good record against the top 6. Now that I say that, watch him score. But I'd start Saka, especially with the form he showed against Slavia Prague yesterday. And as for the -4 from Watkins to Iheanacho, I think that's a good move. Phillips to Cody, worth it? Yeah, I think so, Dano. Not for a hit, but normal transfer, yeah. Transfer Gundogan or Rafinha out for a -4. Simply because I think Rafinha's a better long-term asset, I'd probably get rid of Gundogan. Although this game week, I think Gundogan will outperform him. I don't even know if Rafinha will start because of the injury concern. Is this defence good enough for now? Diaz, Holding, Rudiger, Amati and Phillips, says Dano. It is good enough for now, but you have 3 budget players in Phillips, Amati and Holding. Don't get me wrong, the likes of Holding, Rudiger and Diaz are very good. Amati I'm not too sure about, and he could lose his spot soon. And from Leicester defence, I mean, I don't know, it's such a tough one, isn't it? They have the fixtures, their defence is actually decent on paper, but they just don't keep the clean sheets. As for Phillips, I mean, looking back on it now, I have him. I wish I just kept Trent Alexander-Arnold and made downgrades elsewhere. And yeah, I would have been very happy with my team. But yeah, I think going forward, you'd want to improve one of those defenders at least. Who's the best 5 million and below defender for this week? Probably Saiss, in my opinion. I'd go with someone like Saiss. I think he could get a goal or something like that, and the clean sheet and some bonus points. Best midfielder under 8 million this game week? Probably Lingard, in my opinion, or Maddison. Although West Brom have improved significantly, so my bet would be Lingard yet again. Although, obviously, he's producing double-digit returns every week, but it's not going to happen. You know, it's unsustainable. Not even Messi, Ronaldo, Maradona, Pele could, you know, keep that sort of performance levels up every single week. Transfer Gundogan or Rafinha out for a -4. Who should I bring? I think you asked this already, and I said take out Gundogan if you're looking at the long term. As for who? Lingard, if you don't have him already. I think that's a kind of a self-explanatory one. And if you already have him, Maddison. I still like Maddison. Can we see your bench, please? Sure. My bench is here. I mean, it's still on screen, but I'll scroll down. Rudiger, Phillips, Vidra, and Forster. And yeah, benching Rudiger might actually do well, but I do have Mendy to cover there. I know it's been asked, Kane or Son triple captain? Well, I'm going with Kane myself. There is not much to split them. As I said before, Son has outperformed Kane in more games than Kane has outperformed Son in terms of points in games in which they have started together. But they're both good options. I just think Kane being on penalties, his record against Southampton, 10 goals and 8 assists in 16 games is incredible. And that's not even counting FPL assists. And against Everton, he has something like 10 goals in 12 games. So yeah, I would go with Kane. Just the records, him chasing the golden boot, being on penalties, his form, and also with Son, there's kind of that caveat of Bale coming into the side, and that changes Son's role to a more kind of creative force. And although he can still get some assists, it might not be exactly what you want with the goals. Son for Maddison or Neto? Neto, because Neto's out for the rest of the season. I think that's an easy one, Ismail. Keep Maddison as well. I think he could be a good option for the next few weeks. Drop one of Cody, Castagna, Rudiger, Trent or Shaw, or play all and drop Jota. I'd start Jota and I'd probably bench Castagna from those lot. If you have Mendy, you could bench Rudiger, but I'd rather start Rudiger and Mendy over Castagna. Worth playing Alonso this week? Have a solid bench in place. If not, yeah, I think so. Alonso is always worth playing just in case, but just with him, there's too much headaches with rotation and Tuchel. I mean, literally, 1 week it's Alonso in Champions League, the next is Chilwell in Champions League, and vice versa in the Premier League. Play Luke Shaw or Alonso? Good question. Definitely Luke Shaw if you already have Mendy. Otherwise, it's a bit tougher, but I'd probably still go Luke Shaw. Improvements from my team over the next few weeks. Mendy, Forster, Trent, Shaw, Diaz, Masuaku, Rudiger, Lingard, Bruno, Son, Maddison, Jota, Iheanacho, Kane, Antonio. Well, I'm not sure exactly how long Antonio is out for, but if you can stretch to 8 million or something like that, go for the likes of Lacazette or Cavani. That could be a very good replacement for Antonio. Your midfield is very, very good, but maybe Salah. I think it is missing Salah there. So I'm not sure. Maybe Bruno to Salah you could do. In terms of Son, when there's the blank game week 33 for Tottenham, you could maybe downgrade him. As for who, not too sure because you've already got Lingard, Maddison and Jota who are all the best around that price bracket. So that's a tough one, but maybe Son isn't worth keeping and Kane is enough. But yeah, those are the sort of kind of options I would give you. And maybe Johnston for Forster. You know, Johnston's been very good as was pointed out earlier. Sorry for the repetition of questions, just thought you didn't see the first one. No worries, this Strauch, and thank you for joining in. Phillips, Rudiger, Stones, Shaw, Watkins or Bamford. Bench one. Difficult one. I'd probably bench between Phillips and Watkins, probably. I'd probably bench Watkins. Bench Watkins, Rafinha. I would bench Watkins, Conca. That's a nice one. Hi Dylan, how are you? And I won't call you Tanya today, mate. Yeah, but by saying that, you know, it kind of brings me up. But yeah, it's fine. Thank you. Doing pretty well, and hopefully you are too. Transfers were 4.5 million in the bank. Mendy, Phillips, Holding, Cody, Maddison, Salah, Jota, Lingard, Lacazette, Kane, Iheanacho, Forster, Aspie, Son, Creswell. Who to start Son for? Good question. Oh yeah, over Phillips, definitely. Start Son over... Wait, it's only 3 defenders, isn't it? I'd start Azpilicueta over Phillips, I'll be honest. Start Aspie over Phillips. And as for Son, tough one, very tough. I'd actually maybe start him over Maddison or Jota. Sounds weird, but that's what I'm just feeling. So that's what I'd go for. And as for future transfers, I'd look to get rid of Creswell, especially if his injury is kind of long-term. Could be out for a few weeks. But then again, when he comes back, maybe that's when West Ham's fixtures turn for the better around Game Week 34. So hopefully you got that, Ismail. Which 4 should I start out of Trent, Rudiger, Cody, Shaw and Diaz? So basically bench 1. I would bench... Tough one, but in terms of clean sheet potential, probably Trent. But the thing with him that he always has in his locker is the attacking potential. So because of that, maybe bench Rudiger, especially if you have Mendy. But if you don't have Mendy, start Rudiger and probably bench Trent or Diaz. Mora is banging this week. I heard this last week and it didn't happen, but maybe this is the time. You know, he's always going to have that sort of week when he maybe gets a goal or two. I think the last time he scored was West Ham, wasn't it? In that, was it 2-1, 3-2 loss? Will Mahrez play? Your guess is as good as mine, mate. I actually have no idea. I think he will. I think what Pep is going to do is try to play his best team to secure the league. His performance in the Champions League was very good, scored a very crucial penalty. And I think Mahrez forms part of City's best team. Same with Foden on the other wing. So yeah, I think he does start, but I couldn't tell you for sure, mate. Should I keep Watkins in my team and bench Soufal? Says Tiger and Guna. No, I would start Soufal over Watkins, in my opinion. Although, I'll be honest, I do see Newcastle scoring, but Soufal can get an assist. Watkins maybe can sneak a goal against City, but it's kind of unlikely. It depends on how City set up ultimately. If they play Ake and, you know, they kind of rotate their team, then sure, Watkins can get a goal or two. But if it's against Diaz and Stones or Laporte, I just don't see him getting much joy. All the best, Dylan. Thank you, Wanja, and same to you as well. And up the Gunners. Logan Nathan says, hi Dylan, playing wildcard this week, Sal Martinez or hold? Good luck for you. Yeah, I get your kind of concerns there because Martinez has a very good fixture in Game Week 33 on paper at least, but with West Brom's improvement, with all the other fixtures that Aston Villa have, yeah, they do have a double game week coming up, but apart from Palace and West Brom and maybe one other fixture, which is good on paper, I just don't see the need to keep him. I think Mendy, Edison, Johnston are the sort of keepers you want to look at on a wild card, and even maybe Leno. Other than that, yeah, I think you could get rid of Martinez. And thank you for your comment, and good luck to you as well. DCL was injured until 23rd of April, so would still do one of these players. Yeah, true, Ali. Cancelo, Dallas, Dawson, and target to Trent instead of DCL to Vardy. If you back the Trent move, which of the players shall I take out? I'm just not sure about Vardy. So look, in my opinion, if you want to move out DCL, I completely get that. I wouldn't want him in my team either, especially with how he's been playing anyway. I would aim for getting Iheanacho if you don't have him already. If you do, fair enough. I'm guessing you have Kane. So the other kind of slot available for a striker is Lacazette or Cavani, and I think they're better options right now than Jamie Vardy, and Iheanacho is more than enough cover. So yeah, go for Lacazette or Cavani in for DCL in my opinion. Kevin says, oh yeah, you asked the question about a defender under 5 million and you mentioned size, so you have him, Alonso, Veltman, Target and Johnson. Fair enough. Probably holding because of how good he is long term. I'll be honest though, okay, I know last week I was saying I'm not sure about Arsenal. I still am not. I know they've kept 2 clean sheets, they've scored 7, but it's against Sheffield United and Slavia Prague after all. But yeah, maybe holding for 4.2 million. And wait, do you have Rudiger? You don't have Rudiger, I'd probably go with him. You might have Mendy already, but if you don't, I think a double up in Chelsea defence with Alonso and Rudiger is perfectly fine. And Alonso's not going to start most of the games anyway. So yeah, I think Rudiger, holding, those are the sort of players you want to look at if you're not looking at size for the next few. Triple captain Kane or Son? Well, as I said before, for me it's Kane. I've given the reasons why before. He's on penalties, his record against both of the clubs he's up against, and he's less likely to be dropped or rested than Son. But I back both of them to start both games. They may be taken off early in 1 or 2 of them, but you still back him to get a lot of points. What has been your worst and best decision this season? Very good question. Mine was the double on Kane and Son from Game Week 1. Worst decision was probably not getting in Lingard these past few weeks. Glad I finally have him now. Very good question, Dylan. Thank you for that. In terms of worst, I mean, the kind of mistakes you make stick with you because you also think about it and you think of how you can improve and learn from it. Definitely, there was one period where, although I think I was slightly unlucky, it was still foolish of me. So there was a period where I kept changing my defenders, and every single time I did it, you know, an injury would happen or something like that. And really what you want to do is kind of identify the defenses you are most confident in and stick to it. So I think at one point I had Chilwell, I switched him to Diaz, then I switched him to Chilwell again. Both of them get injured or they score an own goal or something like that along the way. I switch them to someone else, they get injured or something else happens. So I think one of the biggest mistakes I made this season was taking unnecessary hits and changing things when there was no need to change it. But I'll be honest, part of the fun of this game is making transfers and changing your team up, because sometimes I get a bit bored if I look at my team and it's just the same. I'll be honest, that's just the way I am or I play. And another mistake I made probably was not having Kane from double game week 26 onwards. It didn't actually affect me that much in double game week 26, and the reason why I didn't have him was to play the bench boost, and it worked pretty well in the end. But a few game weeks after against Palace, I think it was in game week 27 actually, he went ballistic and I didn't have him, and that really pushed me down. So I think those are the sort of 2 moments that I probably regret the most. Other than that, I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the things. I have made mistakes along the way, but they're kind of small, trivial ones. But the main ones are those sort of decisions. Yeah. And as for best decision, probably getting Lingard in quite early. So looking at his form, looking how he's playing, and not being kind of prejudiced against him because of how he used to be, or because Lingard has always been a player who he could have one crazy month for Manchester United. I remember he won Player of the Month in December of one year, I think maybe 2018 or 17. And then after that, he literally went a year without scoring. But I got him in early, so that's one of the good decisions I made. Other than that, probably not following the crowd with bench boosting in Game Week 19. And instead doing in 26, and I ended up doing very well in both of those double game weeks because my team, I was set up for those sort of things, bench boosting in 19, triple captaining in 26, but it just didn't come to pass because of the postponements and stuff like that. So I think sticking to my guts and trusting my instincts and stuff like that, those are the sort of best decisions I would class. But in order to give more examples, I'd have to think about that. But very good question, Dylan. Jota or Maddison? If you have Salah already, then I'd go for Maddison. But to be honest, I'd probably still prefer Jota. But I am having second doubts about him. But maybe it's kind of recency bias there. Bench one of Shaw, Cody, Holding, Rudiger, says Sunot. Tough one. That's really tough. I would probably bench Holding out of those 4. That's tough, man. If you have Mendy already, bench Rudiger. Thanks, Dylan. Good luck to you and everyone else. Thank you, Akil, and all the very best of luck. Chris Alfamoso, evening, Dylan. Evening to you as well, mate. Hopefully you're having a great night, or evening, should I say. So Adil, the guy who calls me a tarn, he says, my 11, Leno, Trent, Cody, Shaw, Rudiger, Diaz, don't even know who to start. Salah, Lingard, Jota, Son, Iheanacho, Kane. Who do I transfer out? Neto for a mid up to 6.5 or hold the transfer? Start Diaz or Rudiger? Tough one, isn't it? That's tough. I would start Rudiger, but I think City are going to keep a clean sheet as well. That's the thing. Like I said, I would contemplate benching Trent. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just my opinion on it. Always back your gut. And as for do I transfer out Neto, I would, but you don't have to get rid of him just yet, especially if you already have a good solid 11 for this game week. You've got Lingard already. You could maybe get a Maddison in there, but yeah, you've only got 6.5 million, don't you? And I don't really see too many options around 6.5 million and below, other than the ones you already have and I've mentioned. So yeah, those are the sort of things I'd say to you, mate. Cresswell or Cancelo for Cody or holding -4? Probably Cancelo, because Cresswell could be back in a few weeks' time and he has very good fixtures from then on. And as for Cancelo, I think with City defence, it's Diaz or Stones I think I'd mainly be looking at, or Edison if you have him in goal. So yeah, I'd get rid of Cancelo. And probably if you're looking really long term, then I go for holding. But for the next few, I prefer Cody. Is Lacazette a good replacement for DCL? Plus, any news on Maddison? Is he going to play? Yeah, he should play. That disciplinary thing that happened against West Ham, it was just to send a message. And, I mean, the fact that they lost that game was a crucial game. You know, they're both vying for the top 4. It's a tough one, and I think Maddison is needed, especially for the likes of Vardy, who is struggling a bit, especially in terms of goal output. So yeah, I think Maddison should play in the next game. And is Lacazette a good replacement for DCL? Definitely. I think right now, apart from Kane, Iheanacho, Lacazette and Cavani are the best strikers you can go for. And as for Cavani, yeah, he scored in the Europa League yesterday, so that kind of obviously, it puts him above in the rankings. And then in the last game against Tottenham, looked very sharp. Wrongfully disallowed goal, then he actually scored. But yeah, I'd probably say that. I would prefer Lacazette over Cavani, but Cavani is a good option too. No problem, Ismail. What team do you support? I support Arsenal all my life, so yeah, no glory hunting or anything. So yeah, just Arsenal fan, local team and all that. Maelstrom says, hey Dylan, how would you order the 3 defenders this week? Holding Masuaku for Fana, thanks. Thank you for your question. I would probably holding first, Masuaku second and Fofana third. Although to be honest, I can see Newcastle and West Brom scoring, and even then Fulham could score against Arsenal. But yeah, I'd probably go basically in the order that you gave it. Hi, who would you play and bench, Dallas or Bamford? I would start Bamford and bench Dallas, but obviously famous last words. Look at what Dallas did last week. But I do see Liverpool scoring in that game. I think Leicester might be a bit Leeds, they might be a bit more adventurous than they were against City. I think they're going to show Liverpool a bit less respect, and they're going to have more chances. And I think Bamford's probably the one you want to have. I can see 1 or 2 goals for Liverpool. Castagna or Jota to start? I would start Jota, Tariq. Bench Diaz. City are bottling the league, lol. I'm not sure about that. I think they're going to take it seriously and they're going to beat teams like Aston Villa, who, to be honest, looking very, very poor at the moment. So, yeah, I wouldn't bench Diaz. But fair enough. I get your point. I mean, maybe a double Chelsea defence is better than having Diaz, but I think I'm going to go for him anyway. Cover that City club, or defence, should I say. 4-point hit. Diaz out for Reguilon or Sanchez. Not for me. I wouldn't do it, but if you are confident on that, Daniel Marshall, probably Reguilon for the attacking upside. But going forward, you're basically looking to get rid of him in game week 33 or 34. Unless you keep him in 33, you play him against Sheffield in 34, and then you get rid of him because Spurs are awful defensively. What other teams have double game week? Well, this game week, no one. It's just Spurs, really. Unless I'm mistaken. Let me just check again, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's just Spurs. Yeah. Spurs against Everton and Southampton. Trying to see, because it does feel like there's another team that does have a double game week. I mean, look how this game week is going to be so drawn out. It reminds me of game week 26 and 19. Why Kane? Everyone's going to captain Kane. Well, because I just want to keep it simple, mate. I get your point. So look, in terms of how much do I gain from it, not that much. But if he does go ballistic, then that's when I start to really go up. But yeah, I get your point. Why go for him? I really don't care about how many people are going to captain him. I just think he's a great triple captaincy option. I would have used the triple captaincy chip earlier in the season in one of the double game weeks, but it just didn't come to happen. And even then, a lot of the big hitters didn't really perform. And I was always looking at these smaller double game weeks for Spurs, Liverpool and Man United to target one of their assets. but I just think Kane. I look at Game Week 35, that could be another opportunity, but I look at those opponents as well, Everton and Southampton, and I can see goals for Kane. Spurs might lose the games or not even win one of them, but I can see Kane getting a goal or two at least. But yeah, fair enough. I get your point. The Chile and Diaz swap still in. yeah, you probably remember it, wasn't it? November, December. Absolutely awful. And not just that, I think those other defenders like Dallas and whatever. Literally everyone I used to get was literally dropping because of injury. It's incredible. To get Kane and triple captain in because it was the plan, I did Salah out for Jota and Gundogan to Lingard. Is that a wise move? Gundogan to Lingard, exceptional move. I like that. But Salah to Jota, obviously it does fund the Kane move. I get it, but I'm not really too convinced. Jota should cover Salah pretty well. But yeah, I just think getting rid of Salah now, I'm not really too confident about that, but fair enough, I get the logic. Which two do I play out of Holding, Fofana and Aspie? Aspie means double Chelsea defence. I would still start Holding and Azpilicueta, to be honest. I'd bench Fofana. That's just my opinion on it, based on how West Brom have been recently, how Leicester have been defensively. But yeah, I'd start Holding and Aspie. Would you swap Jota for Lingard? Tough one. If you already have Salah and Trent, then yeah, you could get away with that. I prefer Lingard, I'll be honest. You look at the points, you look at how they're playing. Lingard has been continuing this form for over a month. Jota had a few good games and he's kind of, been a bit inconsistent in a way. He's sometimes in the lineup, sometimes he isn't. I prefer Lingard. So yeah, if you have Salah already, I would make the swap. It feels like I have the same team as everyone. Yeah, unfortunately it is a bit like that. I think the main problem is that in terms of big hitters, you're looking at Sterling, Aubameyang, Vardy. A lot of these big hitters aren't performing, so we're limited in the pool of players we can choose from. Then you have enablers like Lingard, who is 6 million, by the way, and he's doing exceptionally well. A few months ago was Gundogan, and it kind of narrows down your choice in a way, so everyone is stuck with the same team. So I get your point. I would want everyone to have a different team in a way, but yeah, it just is what it is. You just want to hope that the combination of players you have is different enough to kind of distinguish yourself from the pack. But yeah, I get that. Start Diaz or Pereira? I'd start Diaz, super sound. Like I said, I back City to keep a clean sheet. Leicester, not so much, I'll be honest. What's the better tactic in your opinion when selecting your defence? Overloading on top and reliable defences like Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, etc., or going with multiple teams to spread the risk? Well, what I've done, so for example, I think City are the best defence in the league. Maybe not recently, but they are overall. Then it's Chelsea. So what I could do, you look at Wolves, for example, they have a very poor record at home, especially defensively. I could bench Cody and play Rudiger, but I look at the opposition also. Brighton are more likely to score than Sheffield United in any given game, even if they're facing a tougher opposition. I back Wolves to keep a clean sheet, and I kind of cover different bases. I've been doubling up and tripling up on Chelsea in FPL and UCL Fantasy, and I'm not getting the points that way. So I do like having a spread, but I also like prioritising the defences, the best defences. So Man City, Chelsea, Man United to a degree, they can be one of the best defences. Liverpool. So yeah, that's what you ask is a very good question. I think a mixture, but I do prefer targeting the best defences, if anything. The reason why I've got it spread out now is because I can afford to do so and the opposition. If Wolves were facing a similar level of opposition to Brighton, then I would be doubling up on Chelsea defence. But because it's Sheffield United, I'm going with Cody. Hopefully that answers your question. Mate, your pronunciation of the many usernames is immaculate. Is there a reason why? I don't know about immaculate. I mean, sometimes I probably botch it, and some people would probably tell me, oh, look, you're saying it wrong, and just quit YouTube. But yeah, it just is what it is. Thank you for your comment. Hi, Sterling and Ricardo Pereira out for Salah and another defender in for a -8. For a -8. Jesus. I wouldn't get rid of Pereira for a -4. But Sterling to Salah, yeah. But I'm guessing why you're proposing that is because it enables you to get enough money to get Salah in. But if you can afford it, just do Sterling to Salah. Which three to start? Rudiger, Diaz, Cody, Trent, Soufal. I'd start... Okay, so forgetting about Mendy, just who is the best assets, I'd say Rudiger, Diaz and Cody. That's my opinion on it. But if you do have Mendy, then just start Trent. Pick two from Maddison, Holding and Soufal. Have Leicester cover with Iheanacho but no Lingard. Ooh. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I get that. I would still go for Maddison and Holding. Reguilon in for Azpilicueta. Ask Evan. If you don't have Chelsea cover other than Azpilicueta, then no. But if you have Mendy or Rudiger or Alonso, then yeah, I'd say go for it for a 1 week punt. But I personally don't like Spurs' defence, and even if they have a double game week now, I just prefer Chelsea. So, yeah, for me, no. I'm a Spurs fan and you're an Arsenal fan. Beauty of FPL is that a Spurs fan literally never goes into a game week without watching the deadline stream of a Guna. Best of luck, mate. Thank you, Karan. And yeah, I didn't even know you're a Spurs fan. Wow, I actually thought you supported someone else. But yeah, that's the beauty of football as well, not just FPL. And yeah, I mean, going to be interesting end to the season, isn't it? You've got the Carabao Cup final to look forward to. Arsenal have the Europa League semi-final. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you for joining in. Smith Rowe or Watkins, mate? Quick time. I actually prefer Smith Rowe this game week, especially if Odegaard is going to miss the game, which he could do. So I'd go with Smith Rowe. Am I stupid to captain Son over Kane? Not at all, mate. As I said before, there's plenty of reasons to go for Son. The extra point for scoring a goal from a midfielder, the clean sheet point, his record against Southampton, or at least what he did early in the season. You also look at how many times he's outperformed Kane in games in which they have started together. That's another thing. And I think he's probably more explosive on a consistent basis. He's got more double-digit returns than Kane. But yeah, I don't think you're stupid. Definitely not. But yeah, it might actually pay off for you. I mean, look at Game Week 26. Everyone went triple captain Kane or captained him, and Son was the one who ended up outperforming him. So that's something to consider. I have an almost similar team to yours, except Rudiger and Lloris in place of Shaw and Mendy. Dilemma in choosing the bench order. Bamford, Diaz, Soufal. In terms of, bench order, Soufal first, Bamford second, Dallas third. Aspilicueta, DCL, Rafinha out for Salah, Callum Robinson, Dallas, Semedo. Worth it? Yeah, okay, fair enough. You're getting that West Brom covering, although, let's be honest, I mean, I don't really back him from West Brom, but fair enough. Dallas or Semedo? I wouldn't get Dallas in this week. I'd be looking to get him in Game Week 34 onwards, but to be fair, look what he did against City. You never know. Semedo's a good option for the next few, but I prefer the likes of, nearly forgot his name, Saiss and Cody. I think they're the best options from Wolves. But yeah, the good moves overall. Salah's a very good acquisition. City have their FA Cup semi-final versus Chelsea and their EFL Cup final versus Spurs before and after the Premier League game versus Villa, respectively. Doesn't that significantly increase the rotation risk of Mahrez? Yeah, it does. I mean, Mahrez is always a rotation risk. I think in the last few months, he's kind of cemented himself more, but he's always a rotation risk. Yeah, I get that. He could be rotated in one of the Premier League games. If it's not Villa, he's going to be rotated in the next one in Game Week 34. So it's a tough one to call. I will try to kind of second guess Pep, but it doesn't always work out. And actually, last week I was doing something similar where I was looking at getting Laporte in because I thought he would start. He ended up not being fully fit. He had an injury. I think it was a hip one. And Diaz didn't start, which I did expect. But there's so many things you just can't tell with Pep. Which Fulham player should I jinx? Answer ASAP. Probably Marja. Marja. Who else could actually cause trouble to Arsenal? I mean, I think Lookman's injured now, which is a big blow for Fulham. Yeah, I'd be looking at him. I'd be looking at Marja or someone like that. Creswell or Digne? I mean, I'd start Creswell if you have him, but I think Creswell could be out. And going forward, I'd get rid of both of them. I don't like Everton or West Ham. Well, I think West Ham are better. And Creswell and Soufal are good from Game Week 34 onwards. But I wouldn't start any defenders for the next few. Lacazette or Vardy? Long term. Lacazette, definitely, as I said before. Interesting point about the double-up defence. Would you double up Chelsea this week or have 1+1 West Ham defender? Okay, look, if I had a West Ham defender and double Chelsea defence, I would probably still go double Chelsea defence because I can see Newcastle scoring a goal with Callum Wilson coming back with Alan Saint-Maximin. And also, they've been all right recently at home. They've been scoring goals anyway. So I would go for double up Chelsea defence. Triple captain in Kane this game week. Hope this works. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't return a single goal or assist, I mean, it's just going to go down as one of those what the hell moments. But yeah, hopefully we get the points overall anyway. Save the triple captain use this week. Yeah, in my opinion, use it this week. And if you have a bench boost using Game Week 35, I think it's that simple. But if you've used all your chips and you're not really feeling the triple captaincy this week, then go for Game Week 35. But I just think it's a very good opportunity to triple captain Kane or Son. I said this from like 10 game weeks ago, I'm pretty sure, or more. I said the plan was always to, judging on how the season has been going so far, I wanted a triple captain either Kane, Son, Salah or Bruno. And yeah, at the moment it's Kane. So 2 out of 3. Aspi, Cody and Castagna. Aspi and Cody, mate, Arthur. Love your streams. Thank you, Moshi. Or Mosh. Hopefully I got that right. Well, one of them should be. Pick 3 from Diaz, Holding, Shaw, Rudiger, and Arnold. Shaw, Rudiger, and Diaz. But if you already have Mendy, bench Rudiger, and you can maybe go for Holding. Arteta versus Unai, yeah, that's going to be tough. And Emery's a Europa League wizard. It's going to be really tough, and I think he really wants to beat us, I can tell. But hopefully we get the win and we can win the final, but it's going to be tough. Creswell to Trent for a -4. I mean, Creswell is injured, but because Trent faces Leeds, I'm not so sure about a -4, but overall, yeah, make that move, but maybe not this week. Maybe look for next week. Triple captain Son, I think it's a good option. If you don't have Kane, then triple captaining Son could be a good kind of safety net, but I prefer Kane, I'll be honest. I already gave them the reasons why. They both have their advantages and disadvantages, but I would rather go for Kane. Triple captain this week, yeah, Kane for me. But if not, Son is still a great option. Definitely don't look at triple captaining another Spurs asset. But yeah, if you don't triple captain Son or Kane, I would look to Game Week 35. Dallas or Phillips? I'd start Phillips. I think he's more likely to get a clean sheet. Such a shame. Well, but then again, Dallas is just exceptional, isn't he? I don't know. Such a shame Arsenal have nothing to play for in the league. Would really enjoy having someone like Saka for the run-in, considering their fixtures, although I'd rather us go all the way in Europe. Yeah, I agree, but I still think it's important to get a run-in the league. They're dead rubber games in a way. The most Arsenal can aspire to is probably top 6. But I still think it's important for kind of building the chemistry and gaining confidence going into the Europa League games against Villarreal and potentially Roma or United in the final. -8, Digne, Lacazette and Nacho. Not for me. I wouldn't get Digne in for a -8. Definitely not. Lacazette and Iheanacho, fair enough, but Digne, no. Just no. Is Bruno essential? I don't think he's essential in this moment in time. And you look at the point returns recently, I think he's going to return in this game week and he could even go big. But I wouldn't call him essential right now. I think there's a lot of different options. Maybe not premium options, but overall there are that you can go to. Kane flopping this game week would be so good because of the triple captaincy threat. Have captained him as well, like literally 80% of the people, so the negative is neglect. Yeah, fair enough. His effective ownership could be 200% or something. It'd be interesting to see what it is when the deadline passes in a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, the way I see it, I mean, if he blanks, Spurs struggle and, that's, I mean, I wouldn't mind that, would I? So, yeah. Start Phillips or Pereira this week? Definitely Pereira, Jay. Do you expect Soufal to be more attacking considering that Creswell is out? To be honest, even when both of them were starting together, Soufal was getting more assists because Creswell's more playing as a left centre-back and Soufal's playing as a right wing-back. So, regardless of the injury or not, I think Soufal's just going to continue playing the same role as he was before. But good point you raise. Thoughts on my transfers? Creswell to Trent and Neto to Pogba as a differential. I mean, the thing with Pogba is there was that one season where he was looking really good, wasn't it? He was on penalties. I think it was 18-19 season, but I still wouldn't go for him. I think there's other options, Maddison, Jota, Lingard. So I personally wouldn't go there. But I like the Creswell to Trent move. It makes sense. And if you feel Pogba as a good option, then go for it. It's a good differential. It could really pay off for you. And at the moment, he's outperforming Bruno Fernandes in recent games. But not for me. I wouldn't go for Pogba personally. That's what I'm saying. Phillips, Watkins or Smith Rowe? Start one. Smith Rowe, definitely Liphook. Kind of overthinking this one now. It might not seem that wise. He is only 4 million, but I wouldn't really let price influence your sort of decisions here. I would go for Smith Rowe. That's my opinion, though. Might triple captain Salah on the final game of the season versus Palace, and electric atmosphere filled Anfield with 10,000 fans cheering Liverpool on for top 4 and Salah for potential golden boot. Makes perfect sense, to be honest. Sometimes we kind of overrate these double game weeks, and in the end it's these kind of solo game weeks. You're looking at Kane versus Southampton or Crystal Palace, you're looking at Salah against Leeds. That's kind of the best time to use your triple captaincy. So maybe you're onto something there. And you look at his performance against Palace in the 7-0. I mean, he played like 20 minutes and he's already done more than a lot of players have in the whole career. Best Spurs defence assets for this game week only? Lloris in goal and Reguilon. Other than that, I just don't see enough bonuses, or bonus points, should I say, attacking potential or anything like that to really go for anyone else. How shall I arrange my bench? Got Phillips, Bamford and Dallas. I'd probably say Bamford first, Phillips second and Dallas third, but I mean, famous last words. Dallas did say himself, don't bench me again. It's up to you if you want to do that. Castagna -8, not for me, mate. I mean, the only way I'd be looking at maybe a -8 or an additional hit for a defender is Trent Alexander-Arnold or something like that, or maybe a Wolves defender for this game week, but I wouldn't do it. Just my opinion on it. Jota or Lucas Moura for a 1 week punt? Well, for this game week, maybe Lucas Moura, but I just prefer Jota, so Jota's my answer. Who would you sell, Salah or Fernandes for this game week? I was asked this before, and I think Bruno's going to outperform Salah this week, or potentially will. But going forward, I would rather have Salah because of the fixtures and the form. But it's a tough one. I mean, 1 week Bruno's the best FPL asset of all time, and then it's Salah, so who knows. I'd probably get rid of Bruno instead, but it could really bite you this game week. So honestly, I'd want to keep both of them. Maddison in for Neto and then drop Rudiger. If you already have a Chelsea defender or Mendy in goal to cover, then fair enough, I'd go ahead with it. Otherwise, there's no need, and you can just wait another week, and then you can get in Maddison. Rudiger, Saiss, Shaw, Fofana, Phillips. Who would you choose? 3 at the back. Probably the first 3 you said. Rudiger, Saiss, and Shaw. That's the first 3 I would go for. Diaz brace incoming. City will want to win because they want to close up the league quickly. I don't know about a brace, but that would be incredible. But yeah, I think City will keep a clean sheet and they will win by a couple of goals, maybe 2 or 3. But maybe Aston Villa will give a fight, and if Grealish is secretly back and Dean Smith trolls us all, then yeah, we might be in for a game. Pick 2 from Soufal, Holding, Rudiger, have Mendy as keeper. I'd still go for Holding and Rudiger, mate. Sing, hopefully you got that. I put Lingard and Iheanacho in, was debating Region, but would have been a -8. You think I made the right choice? Yeah, I think so. I'd rather have Lingard and Iheanacho rather than another Spurs asset like Region or Lloris for an additional hit. I think Lingard and Iheanacho are very good assets. They're still differentials. I mean, let me look at Lingard's ownership. I haven't checked in a long time. Okay, yeah, it's gone up a lot now. He's nearly 30%, but still, nearly 70%, or should I say 71% of the game don't have him. We look at Iheanacho, he's probably double digits now. Yeah, he's 15%. Oh my God. Before that West Ham game, he was like probably 5 to 7%. When I got him in, he was a major differential. Yeah, but yeah, I like those two. Son or Kane triple captain. I've already said this before. Kane for me. You can't go wrong with Son, and you shouldn't overlook him. I'm definitely not saying that. But for me, Harry Kane triple captain, I think it's very, very simple. But if you do back the extra points for a goal or a clean sheet for Son, or you back him just to outscore Kane, then go for it. But Kane for me, definitely. Which team will have a double game week in Game Week 35? I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure yet. I haven't been looking at the kind of potential ramifications and stuff like that. But you would imagine there'd be several teams. I think up to 8 teams will have a double game week. But nothing's been confirmed yet. And they're still looking at rearranging fixtures from Game Week 37 to 36 and vice versa. So I'm not entirely sure about that. We'll have to wait and see. There's potentially a double game week or double game weeks in 37 and a blank in 36. Who knows at this point though. I'll wait and see for confirmation, and definitely follow pages like Ben Krellin, who will definitely keep you updated there. Watkins or Rafinha? I would still start Rafinha, to be honest. Yeah, 2 minutes, or now 1 minute. Last one from me. Ricardo Pereira to Cody, Saiss this week from -4. Nah, I just keep Pereira in that case, but I do back Cody and Saiss more than Pereira, but I wouldn't take a -4 to get rid of him, especially if Pereira plays this advanced role where he can maybe get an assist or 2. Rudiger or Watkins? Rudiger, definitely. No doubt about it. Rudiger all day long. Bruno plus Smith Rowe to Lingard, Pulisic for -4. Okay, I get the logic, but I wouldn't get rid of Bruno, especially on a -4. I think Bruno can do really well this week. Going forward, Bruno isn't essential, but I just have a feeling Bruno could do well over the next 2 game weeks against Burnley and Leeds. Love your channel, Dylan. Thank you, CJ, and all the very best of luck this game week. Thank you for the comment. What do you think of my team? Leno, Saiss, Trent, Shaw, Lingard, Son, Jota, Bruno, Pogba, Kane, Iheanacho, Martinez, Wood, Alonso, Benjamin Mendy. Yeah, it's good. You got some differentials in there. I like that. Benjamin Mendy especially. You captained Wood last week, I think. So very bold call, and he did return more than my captain. And yeah, Pogba, you did end up bringing him in. Fair enough, and could do really well for you. I like it. I like the fact you have some good differentials in there. You know, sometimes I say, you know, I wouldn't go for this sort of play or whatever, but maybe that's why you should. So fair enough. Hopefully it works out for you. And yeah, I like the team. Started Diaz with Rudiger first on the bench in case of Man City's FA Cup fixture involving Diaz. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it could be once again a case of Diaz not starting and Rudiger comes on, which isn't exactly the worst kind of substitute in the world. But what would be really bad is if Diaz doesn't feature and Rudiger doesn't either because I don't trust Phillips to keep a clean sheet. Best of luck to everyone this game week. Really looking forward to finishing the season on a high. Question, will you be playing Euro 2020 Fantasy? And if so, will you be making any videos on it in the summer? I haven't really thought about it too much, but I may actually do it. I've actually never played these sorts of fantasy games for international competitions before, but I might actually do this one and potentially maybe some videos. Not sure how many people play it, but we'll wait and see, maybe. And if I do, I'll let you guys know. Aren't afraid of a bit of Trent? I'm not really afraid, to be honest, not this game week. Going forward, I want to have him, and I will probably be getting him in. I had him in my wildcard draft, but I ended up getting rid of him for Phillips and spending the money elsewhere, especially for 1 week punts like Sterling, which, to be honest, I shouldn't have done. But yeah, I would want to get him in the future. Put Smith Rowe in despite your Arsenal tinted glass opinion. Yeah, bench order, Phillips, Dallas, Watkins. Yeah, fair enough. I probably agree with that. I may have maybe gone with Watkins over Dallas, but yeah, that looks fine. And the reason why I say Smith Rowe is because when he's in the sort of form he was yesterday, playing against Fulham, who, to be honest, they kind of, yeah, they're tough to beat, but they're still, Arsenal could beat them maybe by 2 or 3 if they're actually on it and not gifting stupid goals. I think Smith Rowe could have a very good performance and get a couple of assists there. So yeah, who knows? And he also had a goal disallowed yesterday. Captain Son, let's go. Yeah, good luck with that, and let's see what happens. Will Son outperform Kane yet again in a double game week? Who knows, to be honest. I think it's 1-1 so far, or at least in double game week 19 when they only had Sheffield United, Kane got more points, but in double game week 26 they had 2 fixtures. Son came out the victor with 14 points as opposed to Kane's 8 or something like that. Good luck, Dylan, and everyone in the chat. Good luck to you as well, Kobe, and let's see. Hopefully some more green arrows to come. May my transfers, best of luck to you. Thank you, CJ, and likewise to you, and hopefully more green arrows and you get the target that you want. Locked in, yeah. Locked in delay. Oh, that's interesting. Normally it's instantaneous. And actually that's another thing to consider. I think the deadlines for game weeks 36 to 37, I think they may actually be switched around. So they may actually change based on the fixture changes and rescheduling. Important to keep an eye on that, I think. Considering doubling up on Liverpool defence after the Man United game, Trent transfer and captain was great. I'll be honest, I wouldn't double up on their defence. Obviously, if it's Phillips and Trent, fair enough, and Phillips' budget, but I think Trent is more than enough. And Jota, Salah could be a good midfield partnership, although so far Jota needs to do more, or at least in my team. He's only had 1 game week, to be fair. Hopefully he does well, but yeah, I think Salah and Trent are the top 2 you want from Liverpool. Then it's probably Jota. Bye Dylan, have a good weekend and good luck. Thank you, Adil, and hopefully no more Etani comparisons in the future. But yeah, thank you. Triple captain Son and brought Laka, Iheanacho and Castagna. Fair enough. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not really a big fan of Leicester defence right now, but maybe over the next few game weeks with their very good fixtures on the FDR, maybe they're going to get the clean sheets. And as for Lacazette and Iheanacho, very good transfers. I like that. And Son triple captaincy can be a treat. I sounded a little harsh there. Sorry. Good luck, Dylan. No worries. I mean, to be fair, you have a point. Normally, I'd like to think so anyway, that I'm kind of reasonable with Arsenal and I don't overhype the players. But either way, with Smith Rowe, I don't like him too much as a FPL asset. But maybe in the future he can be very good, at least with consistent assists. But let's see. And thank you as well. And all the very best of luck to you as well. Good evening all. Have a good one, Dylan. Thank you, this Strauk. Very good name, by the way. And or maybe it isn't Strauk. The reason why I say Strauk is because of the Leeds United defender, but I think he's got a J in there as well. But anyway, long-winded answer. Thank you, and all the very best of luck to you as well. Martinez or Pickford? I'd probably go with Martinez because I think he's more likely to rack up save points, but I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to start either of them, but probably Martinez. Played Diaz though. Yeah, I think Diaz is still a great option. We're still overlooking City. They haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 5 home games, but if you look at the Premier League and the away games, they've been keeping plenty of clean sheets still. Kept one against Leicester in the last outing, so I still think they can get some more, including Aston Villa, especially if Diaz plays. So yeah, thank you everyone who has joined in, really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers and we're almost there. So any subscription, any comment, anything like that would be greatly appreciated. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can also contact me there and just talk about FPL and football in general. I also do UCL fantasy videos. There'll be more coming soon with the semi-finals coming into play and some great games to come there. And all the very best of luck with Game Week 32. It's going to be a long one. The games are going on until Thursday, so I mean, God knows when I'm going to make my team selection video and all that sort of thing. And then I think the day after, there's going to be the deadline stream. So a lot of videos to come, and appreciate everyone who has joined in. And if you have any further questions or anything like that, you can leave them down in the comment section of this video. And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.